Hare Krishna. Welcome to special association on Thursdays on Folk Life. We are in the middle of Kartik and very soon we're going to celebrate Diwali and Govardhan. Today we're going to speak about the special Leela of Krishna lifting Govardhan for 7 nights and 7 days to protect the inhabitants of Vrindavan from the wrath of King Indra. Govardhan is synonym with Krishna's pastimes. Govardhan and Krishna's Leela with his dearmost intimate devotees, the gopis, the gopas, the cows, the calves, the Vrajamandala is inseparable. Govardhan is the topmost place of Krishna's ambrosial love for his devotees. Appearance of Govardhana is a unique pastime. Govardhana was a son of Dronachala Parvata, a series in Himalayan range. He was very stout, strong and tall. And one great sage, Pulasya Rishi, happened to visit Dronachala and he was enamored and attracted by the beauty, by the strength and the features of Govardhana and desired to take Govardhana to his place of tapasya, Varanasi, Kashi, where the land is flat and hardly any hillock or caves or forest is there. So Dronachala was hesitant to part his son with the sage. He was loving Govardhan and didn't want to give to the sage Pulasya Rishi. But fearing the Pulasya Rishi may curse him, curse the family, he was in a dilemma what to do, what not to do. Understanding the heart of his father, Govardhan decided to agree to the proposal of Pulasya Rishi. But on one condition, he said, Pulasya Rishi, my dear sir, I would come along with you. मैं आपके साथ आऊंगा, लेकिन आप जब मुझे लेके जाओगे, जहां पे भी आप रखोगे मुझे बीच में, wherever you keep me, I'll not move an inch from that place after that. Agreed? Agreed. MOU was signed and the deal was agreed upon on this one particular condition. As promised, Pulasya Rishi lifted Govardhana. And when Pulasya Rishi lifted Govardhana, Govardhana was with a heavy heart was going. But nevertheless, when he was moving over the Vrajamandala area, suddenly he remembered why he had appeared in this material world. Why Govardhana had appeared in this material world? When Mother Earth, in the form of a calf, approached Brahma, narrating her ordeal, pain of the citizens of the earth, not adhering to dharma, not following dharma, breaking all dharmic principles. She was in pain and grief. In that state of a calf, she approached Brahma and requested Brahma to give relief for her from this pain. Brahma immediately took her to Kshirodakashaya Vishnu. Along with the Devatas, they offered wonderful prayers, especially Purush Sukta. The Lord conveyed the message to Brahma. Brahma heard the message, only he could hear so. The others couldn't understand the encoded message Brahma got. Brahma conveyed the message to the whole assembly of Devatas, including Mother Earth, saying that Lord would appear very soon in the material world and all of them should take your respective births in different families of Yadus so that they can assist the Lord in his service. When the Lord went back to Goloka Vrindavana and informed this to Srimati Radharani that we have to appear in the material world and we have to enact these pastimes in the material world, Srimati Radharani refused to go along with Krishna. When asked, why are you not coming along with me. Mother Srimati Radharani said, how will I come without Govardhan, without this Vrajamandala, without this Govardhan? So Krishna assured her that all these personalities, Govardhan, Yamuna, and the entire Vrajamandala would descend along with us into the material world. So Govardhan is actually from the spiritual world. To assist the Lord in his service, in their service, Govardhan had appeared. And he remembered his cause of his appearance. When Pulastya Rishi was traveling over the Vrajamandala area, he remembered, and mystically Pulastya Rishi had to go for urgent nature call answering. And he placed Govardhana in Vrajamandala and went to relieve himself. And when he came after freshening up, after his Sandhya, he lifted Govardhana, and Govardhana was not moving an inch from that spot. Govardhana refused to move from that spot. And when Pulastya Rishi requested him, please, you have to make it with me, then Govardhana reminded, what was the condition? I'll not move an inch. So Pulastya Rishi again requested, pleaded, but Govardhana had different plans. He had decided to be here come what way. So, but Pulastya got enraged, was full of anger, and in that anger state of affair, he cursed Govardhana, saying that you are so proud of your assets, of your tallness, of your features. You're not abiding my request. You're not answering my prayers, my call, my plead. Better you decrease your height to the size of a mustard seed every single day. He cursed Govardhan. In fact, when you get cursed, sometimes you feel like, oh, I'm cursed, I'm put into difficulty for my these things. But being a great devotee of Govardhan, he didn't mind that. He was so tall. If I remember and trust my memory, Govardhan is 88 miles tall. Snow-capped mountains at the top. Satya Yuga. But Lord had to appear in Dwapar. So by the time it would be ample, tall for the Lord and his devotees to render, to engage in devotional service, to engage in their beautiful leelas there. So he was not disappointed. So that is a attitude of devotees. Curse or blessings, they would take it in good stride and they would be engaged always in the seva of the Lord. This is what we should learn. Life will give a lot of difficulties and challenges. Especially those who are pursuing devotional service will have a lot of challenges. When we take up devotional service, those who are in folk, our parents will not be happy with it. Our relatives will not be happy with it. Our friends will poke fingers and we will be put into difficulty to practice Krishna consciousness. But we should take that in stride and remember the example of these great sages, great devotees and Govardhana, and take those challenges and move ahead to render devotional service. So Govardhana was waiting for the Lord to appear. Satyuga passed away, Treta Yuga came in. And now there was an opportunity for Govardhana to be engaged in the service of the Lord. This time for constructing the Ramasetu to Lanka, Hanuman was bringing big boulders and hillocks to help construct the bridge. And he happened to see this tall Govardhan. He was inspired because this one Govardhana would do the job. So he picked up Govardhan and he was flying up and he was about to reach. Then the news came to him that the bridge is already completed. There's no necessity of additional boulders or the hillocks. Govardhana has to be brought back to Vrajamandala and kept back in the same position. Now Govardhana was actually thrilled and excited before that because he got the opportunity to render seva to Lord Ramachandra. He would have got the opportunity where the Vanara Sena, where the devotees of Lord Ramachandra would trample him, would go on top of him. He would get the blessing and privilege of having the dust from their lotus feet. Now this is not going to happen. he was moved. He was in pain that he was not engaged in the seva of the Lord. But Hanuman ji consoled him and told him that very soon your opportunity to do seva to your heart's content, to the pleasure of devotees and the Lord is going to happen. Just wait for a few more years or ages. Uh, the Lord will appear very soon. And as you all know, during the Dwapar Yuga, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, fulfilling the promise given to Brahma, he appeared in the Yaduvamsha as the son of Devaki and Vasudev, and he was immediately shifted to Gokula as he spent his wonderful childhood as the foster son of Nanda Maharaj and Yashoda Maya. Most of his leelas, sweet, intimate, special leelas happened on the foothills of Govardhana. He used to take his calves and cows for grazing in this place. The minerals which the mountains produced was used to decorating his cows and calves and even his Gopa friends. The water from the ponds and the falls used to be used for mitigating the thirst of the Vrajavasis and the calves. In this way, Govardhana provided all the necessities of the Vrajamandala or the Vrajavasis. For the time being, when as an annual tradition, it was a practice by the Vrajavasis that they would offer their gratitude to King of Heaven, Indra, who was responsible for the rains. Indra Puja was a tradition, parampara. Being the Vaishyas, Krishi, Goraksha, Vanijyam. These are the activities of Vaishyas. Nanda Maharaj, being the head of the Vaishya community there, was performing this Indra Puja or Indra Yagna. But when a small baby, little Krishna, saw this was being done, he thought it should not be done. He given the argument that for all our necessities, it is Govardhan who is providing us. Whether it is food, minerals, grass, or necessities of life, it is Govardhan who is maintaining us. And he was supported by Garga Muni also. It is Vishnu who is supplying all this. It's not Indra per se. There's no exclusive worship of Indra recommended in the Vedic literatures per se. But it was a tradition out of gratitude. They were doing this Indra Puja. When Krishna said this to Nanda Maharaj said, no, it is coming in parampara. It has been tradition of Vrajavasis to do this. Let us not stop this. But Krishna insisted upon not doing this, but being a kind father, being a loving father, being Nanda Maharaj, whose only purpose and goal is to please Krishna, he agreed. He broke the tradition. Many times, we are also put into difficulties. We have to choose what Krishna wants and what others want. We don't always choose what Krishna wants us to do. We have our own understanding, we have our own choices, our own will to do what we want to do it. Every moment for us, those who are practicing Krishna consciousness, there will be a choice to do it for Krishna or do it for ourselves. Just like Arjuna had a choice always, Krishna or Narayani Sena. Duryodhana opted for Narayani Sena, but Arjuna opted for Krishna. Pandavas every now and then, devotees every now and then, always they opt for Krishna, not for anything else. So we should learn this lesson. We should always opt for Krishna. What pleases Krishna, what pleases Prabhupada, what pleases devotee, that should be my action, that should be my goal, that should be the purpose of my existence, not anything else. And they agreed to follow. And Krishna declared to the whole community of Vrajavasis, saying that whatever preparations you have made for performing Indra Yagna, all those offerings can be offered to Govardhana, and with Vrajavasis, with calves, we can do the parikrama of Govardhana. And then faithfully all the Vrajavasis agreed to abide by the instruction of Krishna. They didn't question Krishna. Sometimes we apply our logic and reason and rationality. why we should do all these things, what we are supposed to do. Why Prabhupada is asking us to do all these things. Of course, we can ask, nothing wrong in it. Prashnana is important. Seva is also important. But Pranipad is also important. Surrender with intelligence. Don't surrender your intelligence. Of course. Vrajavasis did so, and Krishna himself manifested himself as Govardhana, and he ate all the offerings. So the beauty of Govardhana is he is not only devotee of Krishna, but also he is Krishna simultaneously. Haridasa Varya. Hari, Supreme Lord. Dasa is a servant and is the best of the servants of Hari. And simultaneously he is Supreme Lord himself, is Vishnu himself. And he was not satisfied with the offering. He said, Anyor, 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 I want more, give me more, give me more. There's a village in Govardhana where this particular lila happened. And that spot, that village is still there. On remembrance of this particular pastime, that village is named as Anyor. And Vrajavasis, out of love and devotion, they offered everything in existence, what they had to Govardhan. And Krishna warns anyone who doesn't perform the Govardhana Parikrama will be bitten by the snakes of the Govardhana. So, following the request of Krishna, all the Vrajavasis did the Parikrama, and all the great acharyas in the Parampara, also there is Madhavendra Puri, Ishvara Puri, or Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself, Nityananda Prabhu, Advaita Acharya, also when they went to Vrajamandala, they also performed Govardhana Parikrama. Even Prabhupada also wanted to go do Govardhana Parikrama. He also did also at the fag end of his life. He also requested his devotees to take him for the Govardhana Parikrama. He said, if I would go for a Govardhana Parikrama, I would get my health back. I would get rejuvenated. I would bounce back. And for some reason, they couldn't do so. Anyways, that's a different story altogether. And now Govardhan was pampered and by the Vrajavasis on the instruction of Krishna. And meanwhile, when the information was given to Indra that the Vrajavasis, instead of pleasing Indra, performing Indra Yagna and Indra Puja, they followed the instruction of a kid, Krishna, according to Indra, and worshipped the Govardhana and not him. He was infuriated. He was raging with anger. Although his guru guided him, it is not necessary that you need to be worshipped. It's Krishna, it's Vishnu who's the center of worship. He needs to be worshipped. He couldn't understand the instruction given by Brahaspati. He was blinded by pride and anger, and he decided to inundate the entire Vrajamandala with water because they disobeyed the tradition and parampara and failed to offer their gratitude in the form of puja and yagna. Devatas, they forget sometimes. Even Brahma forgets. What to speak of Indra? The hosts of the sages, Devatas, don't understand me. Krishna says in the Gita. So Krishna is revealed by himself or by his confidential devotees. Even when he was personally present on this earth, only 100, 200 men who were devotees who could understand that he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Rest of the world, for them, Krishna is a greatest warrior, born in a Yaduvamsha, a prince, etc., etc. But as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, only few could understand and appreciate. Now, out of his anger, what did Indra do? Indra invoked a special cloud called Samvartaka, which is especially called for when the devastation happens. When the whole world is inundated, destroyed, dissolved, at that time, this set of clouds are invited by Indra. Just to give you an analogy, an example, one drop of rain, normally this big, this big, this big, but this drop of rain water is equivalent to, say for example, metro pillar. That was the quantum of water poured from Samartaka. Each drop of rainwater was that huge volume. Krishna, seeing the difficult situation which Vrajavasis were put into because of the wrath of Indra, he couldn't control his emotion, and he, out of his love for his dear devotees, Vrajavasis, because they all appealed to him, because of you we have done that. Just to protect his loving devotees, Krishna lifted Govardhana. Govardhana was just waiting for years together, just to be engaged in the service of the Lord. Already was engaged in service of the Lord. This special service for which Krishna, he was waiting, time had come. And he said, Govardhan, chal ut. And he lifted him, and for 7 days and 7 days he was holding in a small little finger on his small nail. Pulastya Rishi also lifted. He lifted him from Dronachala series to Himalayan series to Govardhan, the Vrajamandala. Krishna's lifting is different. Not a big deal for him. Even the Hanuman also lifted, even Pulastya Rishi also lifted. What is the speciality of Krishna lifting Govardhana? He lifted for 7 days and 7 nights. And those who were under the Govardhan, the Vrajavasis, no one felt hunger, thirst, or any other nature call. They were just absorbed and partying, keeping Krishna in the center. So that's a special, unique feature of Krishna lifting Govardhan. And when Krishna lifted Govardhana, that umbrella of Lord was so big, it encompassed the entire Vrajamandala. Everyone in Vrajamandala was under the shelter of Govardhan. The calves, the peacocks, the birds, the trees, everything in Vrajamandala was protected by the umbrella of the Lord, Govardhan. And Indra became further infuriated. He sent the best of Samvartakas again, and he personally came with this thunderbolt to disturb this particular thing. And Govardhana was handling the Samvartakas cloud. He was handling the thunderbolt sent by Indra, but he was unaffected, unbothered, least bothered, because he was completely in ecstasy. He was thrilled. He was excited because Lord has lifted him, bro. And he was just in a happy state of ecstatic emotion. Whatever was putting upon him by Indra, by Samvartaka, and by the thunderbolt of Indra was not affecting him. And exactly what happens to devotees who are in touch with Krishna by chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra. If somebody is in complete bliss of chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra soulfully, according to what Prabhupada said, hearing each and every verse, every syllable, and following the principles given by Prabhupada, challenges will come, problems will come, obstacles will come. But if you are connected with Krishna by chanting Hare Krishna Mantra, just like Govardhana was connected with Krishna through the finger, the same, if you are connected with Krishna like that by chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra, always, Kirtayanto Mam, Satanta Kirtayanto Mam, Ananya Chintayantos Mam, Kirtaniya Sadahari, at least by chanting 16 rounds of Hare Krishna Mahamantra every day, we'll also be not affected by what happens to us, because we are in touch with Krishna, connected with Krishna, always absorbed in Krishna consciousness. Nothing going to affect us. Like the examples of great acharyas, Haridas Thakur, or Bhakti Siddhanta Satya Maharaj, or Swami Srila Prabhupada, or his great disciples, because they're absorbed in the service of the Lord. Material pangs and pains, birth, death, old age and disease, and the difficulties of Adi Bhautika, Adi Devika, Adi Atmiya Kleshas doesn't affect them. Even if it is affecting them, that doesn't touch their consciousness and love with which they do devotional service to Krishna. And all of us, if we chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra, like if we engage in devotional service according to the instruction of a bona fide, authorized spiritual master like Srila Prabhupada, we also can get the benefit what Govardhana got by being in connection with Krishna. And the water, where did it go? What happened to the so much gallons of water? Where did it go? Krishna engaged his Sudarshana to cleanse up the whole water, dry up the whole water. And Ananta Shesha was there so that the water doesn't seep inside. Krishna's energy, Krishna's great devotees will be engaged, provided we are engaged in the service of the Lord. That's what Krishna promises. Yogakshemam mahamyam. I'll preserve what you have. I'll give, I'll give what you lack, provided you are always practicing devotional service. Ananya chintayantosmam yejana paripasate. That is what is required. At least, if not Ananya, at least 2 hours of 16 hours of Hare Krishna mantra will do to begin with. So this is a wonderful Leela which happened during this Kartik month. That's why Kartik month is very, very special. And Krishna lifted. And look at the love of the Vrajavasis. When Krishna lifted the Govardhana, the elderly friends of Krishna were in a mood of brotherly affection, elderly brotherly affection. They said, Krishna, I think your left hand is aching. Probably you can shift it to your right hand so that you can get some rest to your left hand. And some other devotee is telling, Gopa is telling, so why don't you hand over Govardhana to Subala so that you can take some relaxation, so that we can help. He would hold it. So they don't know who Supreme Lord is. They don't know who Krishna is. They just absorbed in giving pleasure to Krishna. That's it. And the elderly Gopas, the fatherly figure of Krishna's, like Nanda Maharaj and other fatherly figure, they were telling to each other, Krishna cannot hold this Govardhan all alone. We need to support him. Let us hold our sticks, latis, so that we can support Govardhan, so that he gets some relief. And they're all supporting. And Krishna was moved by their wonderful gesture. And all the gopis and the calves, they were just looking at the beautiful face of Krishna, lotus face of Krishna. And Krishna is playing the flute. And they're just enjoying there, dancing there, feasting there in that sense. Just absorbed in service of Krishna. So when you surrender to Krishna, Krishna assures, I will protect. Avashya rakshibe Krishna vishwase palanam. This is a promise given by Krishna. Of course, Krishna doesn't give you the promise to protect the body of a devotee, the consciousness, the spirit, obviously. That's what Narada Muni was wonderstruck. And he could ask audaciously this question to Krishna, that, my dear Krishna, the Pandavas has been going through all those tribulations. They were orphaned, their house was set on fire, they lost their father at a young age, wife was insulted, property looted, fratricidal war, with so much calamities and difficulties. Still, their love for you has never reduced. What kind of hypnotism do you do, Krishna? Of course, Narada could ask like this. Prabhupada said in one. In the same way, devotees, whether they are difficulty or not so difficulty, they just want to please Krishna. The Vrajavasis, the mood is, they just want to love Krishna, nothing else. And Indra understood this eventually, and he came and begged forgiveness along with this carrier elephant, Airavata. So there's a place when you go to Govardhana Parikrama, there's a footprints of Airavata. There's Airavata Kunda and Indra Kunda and Surabhi Kunda. They performed Abhishekam, they glorified the Lord, they begged forgiveness, and Krishna forgave them. So this is one of the special Leela of Govardhana. Why he wanted to do this, particularly tell his parents, especially it was happening in his family, because just before that, he was with his friends, the Gopas, and they were hungry. And he wanted to feed them. And he said, why don't you go to Yagnik Brahmanas who are performing Yagna? Please ask them for charity. They would you give some food, but don't tell my name, because I'm a Vaishya and I'm not supposed to get charity from them. At least you can tell the name of Balaram, and in his name they would give you. So these Yagnik Brahmanas, they were performing Yagnas to go to the higher planetary system, higher planets, and enjoy there, and to please the Lord, etc. They were doing this yagna, and when the Gopas, when they went there, then they requested, my dear Brahmanas, Krishna Balaram has come, and we're all hungry. We would like to have some food. Please, can you help us? They didn't heed to their request. They neglected. Now they are performing yagna. Yagnapati is Vishnu, and Vishnu Sakshat in the form of Krishna and Balaram has come in their doorstep and send his devotees. And they're not able to recognize that Vedavada Rata Pata Pushpita Vacha. We get bewildered by the flowery language of the Vedas, not understand the purpose and goal of the Vedic literatures or the purpose of the Vedic rituals. That's why Krishna again in the Bhagavad Gita says, Vedescha sarvam ahameva vedya vedanta krit vedantavit evacham. I am the knower of the Vedas. I am the compiler of the Vedas. From all the Vedas, it is I to be known. In the Vedic literatures, when you get into deep, you forget the goal and purpose. You get into the details of such rituals. That's why Krishna again sent those gopas. They went back to Krishna and said they didn't say anything. They just refused to do anything. So okay, Krishna said, don't worry. You go to their wives and request from them to offer something and tell the same thing that we are hungry, please give us. Moment the gopas go to the Brahmana Patnis, the wives of Brahmanas, moment they heard Krishna and Balrama have come and they are hungry, they want food, they just stopped all their work, packed all the food what they had and rushed to feed Krishna. The husbands looking at the wives doing that, they forbade from doing so. They said, don't go. Those days, if you don't obey husbands, and if you leave the house like that, you're not taken back again. But they refuse to abide by the orders of their husbands. Hell with my husband. I don't care. I don't mind for a woman to do so. Just imagine the love and devotion what they had for Krishna. That they've, three women, married women, refused to accept the orders of their husbands because they were so much heard about Krishna. That they had love and devotion to Krishna. The same way, we'll always have two calls. One call from Krishna, one call from our... You can fill the blanks, up to you. You have a choice to go and follow Krishna's calls, answers, or you want to answer the calls of your so-called friends, relatives, family members who are not going to help you in Krishna consciousness. Every moment, there will be a choice. Krishna is calling always. You have a choice. You have to always opt for Krishna. Just like Pandavas opted, Prahlad opted, Dhruv Maharaj opted, Brahmana Patnis opted, Vrajavasis opted. We have a choice. Others who are not in Krishna consciousness, they don't even have this choice. They're just engrossed in worldly consciousness. They just went and approached Krishna and pleased Krishna. And they said, we don't want to go back to our husbands. We just want to be engaged in your service. But Krishna consoled them and said, no problem, you go back and they will accept you. Otherwise, there's no going back, because once you left home, there's no way to go back home, and the husbands will not accept you. That was a concern, that was a worry. But Krishna said, you go, they'll accept. And when they returned back, the Brahmana's husband, the wife's husband, that is Brahmanas, they were so happy to receive them. They understood their mistake. They realized their fallacy. They said, hell with our Brahmana, being a Brahmana, hell with our Brahmana, hell with our knowledge, hell with our yagnas, without knowing the purpose and goal of all these things. Our wives, being simple, kind-hearted, they understood the essence to please Krishna. So, when Krishna forbid them to doing any yagna, just purpose of this yagna, purpose of all the ritualistic ceremonies or anything in the Vedic literatures is meant to satisfy me, not anything else. And then when he came to his home, in his home, Indra Puja was happening. So Krishna, by his personal example, teaching his own devotees, teaching the whole world that there is no need of exclusive worship of any other devata other than me. Mekam sharanam aham sarvasya prabhaham adiri devana. When you pour water to the root of the tree, every twig, every leaf, every branch, every fruit, the whole tree gets nourished. We all are connected with Krishna, and Krishna is that root. When you feed food to the stomach, every part of the body is nourished. Each and every limb cannot be served separately. You just feed food to the stomach, and when stomach is satisfied, everything gets. Yasmin tushte jagat tushte. Krishna, by his personal example, just like mother-in-law teaches the daughter-in-law by teaching the daughter, the same way Krishna teaches the whole world by teaching his devotees. There is no need of worshipping anyone else except me, Mamekam. So Krishna, by his example, and in the 7th chapter, 20th verse, 23rd verse, clearly tells there is no need of worshipping any other personality other than him. So for more reference, you can refer that, how that is not necessary, how that is less intelligence, how even though you get it from other personalities, actually you're getting what from Krishna himself. So why to worship anyone else? Focus on Krishna itself. Because mukti pradayate sarvesham vishnu na eva samsaya. If you want liberation, you want ultimate mukti, it is you have to go to surrender to Krishna or Vishnu itself. No one else can do that. And even if you're getting from something by worshiping some personalities, those things are also given by Krishna himself. And if the Paramatma in their heart doesn't sanction, Krishna doesn't sanction, they cannot even give. And if you worship that personality, you go to that personality's abode. But if you worship Krishna, you'll come back to him. And all these personalities are there or in the material world. But Krishna is in the spiritual world. We go, R is Amshas, we are his part and parcel. Mamai Pamcho, Jiva Loka, Jiva Bhuta Sanatana. So Krishna, by this wonderful pastime of lifting the Govardhana, giving shelter to his Vrajavasis, is communicating lot of things. No need to worship any other personality. I'll protect my devotees come what may. You just have to surrender. And everyone and everything should be engaged in the service of the Lord. And you'll always be given a choice. Krishna, Maya. You have to opt for Krishna always. And that opting to Krishna is possible and practically possible when we surrender to a bona fide spiritual master and follow his instruction. And we are privileged and fortunate to have Swami Prabhupada as our Acharya. Simply by following his instruction, being in touch with his institutes and devotees and disciples, he'll tread this path of Krishna consciousness, he'll go back home, back to God. Hare Krishna, Prabhu Dandavats. How Govardhan covered the entire Vrajamandala as it was located within Vrajamandala? How can a thing lying inside of something can cover the area outside it? Yes, wonderful. That's the beauty of Govardhana. It's the beauty of anything spiritual. That's the beauty of something from the spiritual world. It can expand. It can become bigger, huger, smaller, smaller than the smallest, greater than the greatest for the service of the Lord. So Govardhana had that ability because being a part and parcel of the Supreme Lord, associate of the Lord, in eternally staying in Vrajamandala, in his original Goloka Vrindavana. So he had that inherent nature to do so. That's what the Acharya mentioned that. That's why they could cover the entire Vrajamandala and protect the Vrajavasis from the wrath. And even if he didn't had also, Krishna expanded him. Possible, no? Krishna gives what you lack. If Govardhana was lacking that, it was very short, only small people could Krishna expanded him, gave them the energy to do so. In either way, it's possible. So one answer is Krishna made him expand. Another thing is because of his spiritual in nature, to give pleasure to Krishna, the residents of Goloka Vrindavana have those ability. They can change their personality, they can expand, they can become a tree, they can become a plant, they can become a cow, they can become a gopi, and according to their desire to please Krishna in a particular way, they render service. And Govardhana, to render service in this format, he wanted to become a bigger umbrella so that he can protect the Vrajavasis, help in the service of the Lord. He expanded himself. In the same way, we should also expand from our mind by our prana, artha, diya and vacha. We should expand, we should assist Krishna's movement to be spread in the nook and corner in his service by assisting his pure devotee Srila Prabhupada. We should vigorously preach the message of Krishna consciousness by prana, artha, diya and vacha. By words, by intelligence, by money and by our body. Okay. Were Balramji also stolen by Brahma along with the other Gopas? If so, did Krishna expand himself into Balramji for upcoming 1 year? No, Balramji was not stolen by Brahma. Except Balram, other Gopas were stolen. Cows were stolen. It was Krishna who expanded himself to other forms, and even Balaram, over a period of time, could not understand what is this magic happening between the calf and the cow, with the mother and the son, with the father and the son. Their love for each other was increasing exponentially day by day, day by day. It was uncommon. And even Balram couldn't understand that it was Krishna who had expanded himself into the calves and the gopas. When Balram couldn't understand, that's the supremacy of Krishna. So to your answer, Brahma couldn't steal Balaram, obviously. And Balaram also couldn't understand that Krishna had expanded himself. Later he could figure it out. That is Krishna for you. Same like the rope that was tied to Damodara by Mother Yashoda, that was expanding and compressing. Yes, according to his wish and fancies. He wants to increase the eagerness for Mother Yashoda to tie him. Who can tie the Supreme Lord? Yeah? Who can tie the Supreme Lord? You can put Supreme Lord in one place, but he can be tied. That's what Krishna wants. But he wants his devotees to tie him, not non-devotees, atheists or impersonalists or Mayavadis. He can be tied by the love of Mother Yashoda. And that love can be awakened in each and every one of our heart when we chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Our original love for Krishna, which has become lust now, has become iron now, will be transformed into gold by constantly chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Just like iron kept in the fire becomes hot, hotter and red hot, and at the stage of being red hot, it is not different from the fire. The same way, when we vigorously, rigorously, intensifyingly practice the Tivrena Bhakti Yogana, then become red hot. Then become completely spiritual. That should be our goal and purpose in life. So we can also be tying Krishna in that sense. Obviously, we don't have that purity as of now, but we can assist Mother Yashoda, obviously. You cannot take up the position of Mother Yashoda or Gopi in the spiritual world. But we can always assist. We can relish this pastime. We can be there watching this pastime. That's a goal and purpose of life, to go back home, back to God and back to Goloka Vrindavana. And for that to happen, we should visit Vrindavan. So whenever Vrindavan trip happens, whenever Mayapur trip happens, you should always aspire to be there. So this coming December 30th to January 7th, we are going to Udupi, the birthplace of our parampara, the birthplace where Krishna was worshipped as a small baby with a grinding mortar, with a churning butter rod, and with his friend Balaram, with his brother Balaram, in a different temple altogether. And the birthplace of Madhvacharya, the parampara from which we come. And also we'll go to ISKCON Bangalore, the birthplace of Srila Prabhupada's emphasizing as his sole Diksha Guru of the worldwide Hare Krishna movement. So don't miss this opportunity. You have a choice. Krishna is calling, your friends are also calling. Krishna is calling, your relatives are also calling. You have a choice. Opt for what Krishna wants you to do it. Come to the trip during December. And if you miss, unfortunately, due to unavoidable reasons, maybe exams or maybe some health reasons or some commitment prior which you cannot break it, Mayapur, we are going in the month of March from 7 to 14. Never ever try to miss this wonderful opportunity to come to Sridham Mayapur. Thank you so much for patiently hearing me and coming every Thursday to hear these classes. God bless you all. Srila Prabhupada bless you all. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.